Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Thelma Titi Ahamba. I want to welcome you to day 4 of Chat with Themmy. Today, we are going to be talking about the topic that you see. Do not judge, be discerning. This topic is something I hold very dear to my heart because I know most of us will always say, well, don't be, it's not good to be judgmental. Of course, it's not good to be judgmental. All right. I forgot my headset. Of course, it's not good to be judgmental. But what does it mean to be judgmental and what does it mean to be discerning? I want us to take a look into that this evening as we have this conversation tonight. All right. It's going to be a real quick one. So a lot of times we hear people say, well, this person judging me, this person's judging me. I want us to look at the definition of judge. What does it mean to judge? Simply to judge means to express your opinion of someone. Quite often, it's not a good opinion. And most of the time, judge means to jump to conclusion. So judging someone could be biased. It could be based off of emotions. It could be based off of what other people are saying about that person. It could be based off of what you heard or not what you see or what you experience. It could be more from an external point without you getting to know someone. You could just form an opinion about someone, which most of the time it's not a positive opinion. All right. Most of the time it's a negative opinion that we form about other people based off of maybe what we see online or what we heard about them from other people that have encountered them, may or may not have encountered them actually. We tend to form opinions about other people, right? But let's look at what discernment is, right? It's discernment. When you Google that, because I Googled it, discernment, firstly, my perspective of discernment is to get to know someone before you form an opinion about someone. All right. And then when I Googled it, it says to recognize or identify, to recognize or identify as separate and distinct. All right. So discernment goes a little deeper. You don't just form opinion of someone. And discernment is such a way that the fact that something looks good doesn't mean it's good. That's the interesting part about discernment. The fact that something looks bad doesn't mean it's bad. That's the interesting thing about discernment, all right? So before you form your opinion about someone, you want to be able to get to know them a little bit more or encounter the person for yourself before coming to a conclusion or forming an opinion about somebody. All right. How many times have we, draw a conclusion of someone because someone say, oh, this person they're mean, or this person they're XYZ, this person they're that. So because you have been pre-informed, sometimes when you get the opportunity to get closer to that person, you tend to, be a bit sticky with the person. You tend to look at them from another point. You already have a perception in your mind about them. So even if the person is being nice, if you've heard something negative about them, you'll be like, well, it's just a matter of time. This one will start showing their true colors that you do not know. All right. So I want to remind us that we should not judge. A lot of time people say, don't judge the book by its cover. Okay. You can't just see a book from afar. You see the title of the book and and start to judge the book whether it's valuable or it's not valuable, or whether it's decent, is a decent material or it's not a decent material. Okay. I want us to give ourselves the opportunity to get closer to people, to places. Some people say have a different perception about countries. All right. Some people have a different perception. They judge a particular race, a particular culture, a particular nationality based off of what other people have seen, said, or heard about those people. So sometimes whether they experience them or not, it doesn't really matter because, well, That's what it said. I know my friend, and she has encountered them, or she got married to one of them, and then she said XYZ. That's how they are. How many people are in this world? How many people have whoever told you about? How many people have they encountered to be able to form an opinion about a nation or a race or a tribe or a nationality? How many people have they encountered? All right. Um, Judging people, most of the time we miss the opportunity to get to know the person, and maybe that person's supposed to be on your journey with you. Because they had a rocky way with someone else doesn't mean they're going to have a rocky path with you. So be discerning, because most of the time we tend to miss our blessings simply because we're judging people based off of what a third party said. Okay? If I remember in college, there was this particular lecturer who everyone said she's wicked. Why? Simply because she she did not, she did not have anyone as her assistant, a lecturer. She did not have any TA, and they said she wore her natural hair to school, and she did not do makeup, and and they just base the thing as she's very strict. She doesn't have a kind heart. She will just mark you down or do stuff because everyone said, oh, my colleague graduated in her department and she was so nice that, oh, she probably just failed the half of the class or something like that. And this particular lady, I'm still in touch with her today. Okay, like literally, I am still in touch with her today. Because the thing is, for me, I believe get to know someone for someone before you form an opinion about the person. Because the thing about human being is we react or tend to adjust ourselves based on how we are accepted in a particular environment. There's so many people you hear that, oh, this person is very mean, this person is very, they're not nice to people, or they are very rude. And then you realize that they don't treat other people like that. So now you probably find yourself in a situation where you're asking, like, so what did this person who said this person is not nice, or this person is rude, or this person is just right off the bat terrible? What did that person do to influence that attitude of that other person? All right. That's why I said we should not judge, we should be discerning. All right. When you have come close to someone enough, close to a particular person or particular situation, or find yourself in a situation, when you have experienced something, you have you've been given enough opportunity to be discerning enough, then you can, form your own opinion. And it's not, do not generalize. Okay. So many people have said, I remember. Thank you, Slay Mama. She said, absolutely right. Exactly. Before you get to know the person, okay? So, most of the time, give yourself the opportunity to get to know someone. A lot of people have passed on amazing people because they just came up with a conclusion that my friend said or this person said, you know? And sometimes it's based off of stereotypes. A lot of people, I got married to a Nigerian, a lot of people say, well, okay, the way I speak so highly of Nigerians, maybe because they haven't scammed me. And I'm like, there are over 200 million people in that country. I don't know how many of them are going to come across that will scam me to make me judge the entire 200 million people. Everywhere, every country, there's the good, there's the bad, there's the ugly. So you do not judge the entire people based off of your experience with one person. I don't care if 5 people have treated you terribly. What's the percentage of 5 people against 200 million? If you met one Liberian that's terrible, if you met one American that's terrible, one Russian that's terrible, that treated you badly, doesn't mean the entire people of Russia is bad. Doesn't mean the entire people of America is bad. Doesn't mean the entire people of Liberia or Nigeria or Ghana or any other country is bad. Learn to form your opinion after you have experienced something, after you have been in that situation. Then you can advise yourself based on that. When you discern people, you do not go around trying to shift other people's perspective about those particular people. You just advise yourself on how to tread. For instance, you cannot say because somebody was ungrateful when you help them means every single person you help is going to be ungrateful. No, you cannot say that. You don't have the right to say that. You can probably just advise yourself to say, okay, before I lend a hand to someone, I want to make sure that they're genuine. All right. Especially now in this internet days that people are there are scammers everywhere and there are terrible people everywhere. Okay. So you want to be able to do due diligence before you form an opinion or before you come to a conclusion. Do not just right off the bat judge someone based off of what they look like. There are so many decent people that do not appear in our own sense of decency or our own judgment of decency that do not appear decent to us. And there's so many people who appear decent, what we call decent, that are not decent, that are not good humans. All right. The fact that somebody behaves in your definition of what you call good person doesn't make them a good person. All right. And the fact that someone doesn't look like what you term to be good doesn't make them a bad person. So before we judge that job, before we judge that tribe, before we judge that country, before we judge that race, before we judge that woman or that man, right? Give yourself the opportunity to get to know the person on a whole new level. Give yourself the opportunity to learn something new, to shift your perspective, so that before you take a step, you will know how you're treading. And it's not going to be based off of what someone said or what someone did or what someone experience was. You want to get to know the person for yourself. You want to be able to encounter the person for yourself. You don't just want to draw a conclusion. All right. So, like the other day, I was having a conversation with my friend. I'm like, I've heard people tell me, "Well, you talk so highly of Nigerians." Before I got married to a Nigerian, I had been encountering Nigerians since 2011. My first friend I encountered in school was a Nigerian. She is a Nigerian. I was a Nigerian. She is a Nigerian. Okay. And based on my relationship with her, she is a nice person. I didn't draw the conclusion that Nigerians are nice people. Okay? But getting to know her made me want to get to know people from her place. And that was way before I met my husband. And don't get me wrong, I have been scammed before. But I'll not say all these people scam people. No, that person scammed people, scammed someone, scammed me. All right. So let's learn to form our own, let's have our own voice, let's have our own opinion and not, judge people based off of what other people are saying or what other people are hearing or what someone come and said and stuff like that. No. We miss our opportunity if we do that. Ask yourself, you know, uh, um, was there ever a time you you kept someone at arm's length simply because a third party, another person, said XYZ about the person? A lot of times we say, oh, don't judge the book by its cover, but almost always we do that. All right. Almost always we do that. We have a bad experience with someone at church, and we say church folks are like that, church folks are hypocritical, church folks are this, church folks are that. No, that person is terrible, that person is hypocritical, that person is this and that, based off of your experience, not church folks. All right, not church folks. Because I like to tell people the church is like a hospital. You don't see people who are 100% well lying in a hospital bed. No matter how good a person is, all of us that go to church, whether you go to church or you don't go to church, wherever you show up for your spiritual meetings, you go there, you're not 100%. So the fact that somebody at church hurt you doesn't mean everybody at church is going to hurt you. The fact that a boss at your job was terrible doesn't mean everybody at your job is terrible. Handpick people that sit in your life. Don't just welcome everybody to the show. No. Our experience is meant to teach us so that we can make informed decisions. But a lot of time, we miss out on the opportunity to make informed decisions because we're being judgmental, we're not being discerning. So I want to remind us tonight that as we go out, as we encounter new people, as we come across people in the workplace, in the school, in the church, like anywhere, in our business environment, as we go out, let's be very intentional about how we treat people. The fact that someone tell you this person is unkind and you start treating the person unkindly, it says a lot about you than it says anything about that person. If you're going to be judgmental towards someone, and I'm not attacking nobody, I'm guilty of judging a book by its cover too. All right, because we're human beings, we all have instances where we've done that. But the thing is, when you know better, you do better. All right, when you know better, you do better. You don't know better to not want to change. You don't know better to want to remain the same. No, then that's a you problem. That's not anybody's problem. You should be judging you, not anybody. Okay? A lot of times we want to be judgmental towards other people, but when other people start to be judgmental towards us, you're like, well, you didn't give me the chance, you didn't give me opportunity for you to get to know me. How many people did you not give the opportunity to for them to prove themselves to you? As I said earlier, sometimes other people's attitude influence other people's behavior. When you treat a bad person when you treat a good person terribly, sometimes they don't stop being good. Sometimes they just be more conscious of where they tread and how they tread with people. They tend to be more reserved. Okay? So a lot of times people will form perception based off of what other people said. Like I said, my lecturer in school, that everyone said, oh, she was tough, oh, she was wicked because she's so strict, she doesn't have a TA, and she's blah blah blah. Oh, she wears her natural hair. Women that have natural hair, they're very, very wicked people. Or recently someone, a friend of mine shared on LinkedIn that why do people have the opinion that women that have beards are wicked? Like people just come up with some weird assumptions. And then some people will be so naive to miss out on opportunities of getting to know someone or enjoying the benefits of knowing someone simply because they misjudge the person based off of another person's opinion. And this my lecturer, like I said, I'm still in touch with her. And most of the stuff I've done when it comes to references, academic references, she's just a call or text away. And this is someone I haven't seen since I graduated from college. All right. It's been like 7 years now. But we've come to build a relationship beyond the school walls. And that's how you should step into a relationship with people. Be so intentional that you do not build relationship for the time being. Build relationship that's meant to last, relationship that is meaningful. Okay? So I want us to leave tonight, not, going with a new mindset to say, before I jump to conclusion uh, 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 of someone, I want to give myself the opportunity to know that person. If the person treats you terribly, then you can form a perception to say, okay, this person wasn't nice to me. But they are nice to other people. I remember, I don't know what that was, my dad's elder sister the other time I went to visit that said this. And she's like, and that makes so much sense to me again. And she was like, no matter how terrible a witch is, they still have a family that loves them. And how true is that? How true is that? Okay? So, irrespective of how terribly we see someone or someone have explained to us, that person is sweet to people. Sweet to people who give them the space to grow and give them the space to, to show growth. Okay, say for instance, someone was a bad person, they treated people terribly and blah, blah, blah. They were rude to people. But guess what? As we grow, we change, we evolve. Okay? As we grow, we change, we evolve. And we showcase different sides of us. All right? So I don't want us to miss the opportunity of getting to know people. I don't want us to miss the opportunity of experiencing the sides of people. I don't want us to miss the opportunity of experiencing people for ourselves, and then we just jump to conclusion. When you meet people, when you encounter people, I want us to be able to give ourselves the opportunity to learn. I want us to give ourselves the opportunity to experience people. All right? The fact that something or someone looks good doesn't mean it's right. So in your discernment, you're not just looking outwardly. You're looking beyond that. Have you ever gone into a business? Have you ever gone into a contract? Have you ever gone into, into a relationship based off of the fact that, this person's great. They tick a few boxes, okay? And then you didn't look past anything else. And then when you encounter the person, guess what? My Nigerian friends will say, they show you shaggy, like you see pepper, serious pepper, they show you. They be like, wow. So this person was, just hiding under this all along. I don't want us to miss the opportunity of getting to know people before we judge them. So don't just judge. Thank you, Pay. Don't just judge the book right off the, right off the cover. I mean, literally, sometimes book covers is for marketing purpose. All right. So I think there's a book called The Subtle Act of Not Giving an F, with the F word. Would you say that book has no value because the author gave it that title? And then there's a very amazing woman I know whose book title is "Get Off Your A and On Your Feet." A for to represent your bum. Would you say that book has no value because she used the A word? Ask yourself. So, how many times have you missed out on quality people? Have you missed out on quality materials simply because you judge it based on what someone said or based on what other people claim their experiences were? All right. So, as we step into the new week tomorrow, I know some of you may already be in the new week because it may be a day on your end already, and I want you to step into the new week with a whole new mindset on this being judgmental thing. I don't want us to miss the opportunity of thanks, Alvin. I don't want us to miss the opportunity of, uh 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 not knowing people. What if that person is supposed to meet you're supposed to meet them along your journey at a particular point where they are supposed to be your helper? But then down the line, you messed up because someone said XYZ about the person and you did not use your wisdom to treat the person right. And besides, we're not supposed to even know people to treat them right, good or bad. All right. You're not supposed to know someone, know what they're capable of, know who they are to be able to treat them like human beings. All right? How you treat people says a lot about you than it would say anything about that person. That is it. That's life for you. The way you treat other people says everything about you than it says anything about the person you're treating terribly. Imagine treating someone terribly only to find out who they really are. They'd be like, wow, oh my God, I'm sorry. I don't know you are this kind of quality person. Like, are you supposed to know the person offers quality before you treat them right? Do you think it's their problem? It is a you problem. Okay? It's a you problem. It's not a them problem. So I want us as we're stepping into the new week, I want us to be more discerning than judgmental. Discernment is more powerful than judgment. Discernment is more powerful than judgment. Okay? So as we step into the new week, if you're a Christian, pray to God to help you to discern. And sometimes the thing about discernment is sometimes even when it comes to opportunities, you'll be able to see whether it's worth it or whether it's just for the now. Okay? You'll be able to see whether it's worth it or whether it's just for now. So that way, the thing is, when you let your discernment go before your judgment, you tend to make better judgment. That's the thing. If you let discernment goes before judgment, you tend to make better judgment of people, of things, of places, of situations, of anything. Discern before you judge. All right. So I want to encourage us all as I draw the curtain on tonight's discussion. Do not judge, be discerning. I want to say thank you all that showed up here live to listen to me, and I appreciate you. I hope you found value in what I said or the things I spoke about. And whether you're going to watch the replay, I hope you also get value from this. Um, I'd be happy if you could say hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. So I am looking forward to hopping on here tomorrow to share my thoughts on something new. Until tomorrow, I hope this was a time worthwhile. And I say thank you for joining me live tonight. Again, I am Thelma Titi Ahamba. You can call me Themmy. Have a wonderful evening. Have a happy Sunday tomorrow. Good night.